Hi everybody, this is Kimberly with Starfish Design Embroidery Group. Yes, I know you can't see me. I'm walking back to my chair. I really need to figure out how to get one of these little remotes to work so I can start remoting the camera. Today I'm doing a pretty simple design, but for newbies this is probably something you need to know how to do. I'm stitching out an ornament that's going to be a freebie in the group on Sunday, December 1st. I've gone ahead and stitched out the placement line first. So on most designs, ornaments or snap tabs, almost any design really, you're going to have a very first stitch that's going to be placement, and that means you stitch that die line on the stabilizer only. You're not going to stitch this on your vinyl or felt or whatever other material you're using. Of course you're going to follow the instructions, but my ornament is basically the same as the snap tab. So I've already stitched that out, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape my vinyl down on top of here. I've roughly cut the vinyl. Most of the time you're not going to have cutting instructions for snap tabs and ornaments. Every hoop is designed differently. You basically just want to kind of rough cut a piece of material to cover up that placement line by about a ½ inch all the way around. And if you hold this up to the light and look on the back, you can make sure that it's actually covered and filling that up. So we're going to go ahead and run this first placement stitch, and this is going to stitch the decorative motif of our bells. So I'm just using a regular tearaway. This is from, I believe it's called, oh, I gotta double check, Red Art. Sorry, I have all this extra mess up here I need to clean up. I get it on Amazon. It's a big roll, and it works really well for moderate fill designs. If I had a heavy fill design, I would use a medium cutaway, or I would use this tearaway and float a piece of cutaway underneath so that I get some extra coverage for anything that's a heavy fill design. Most of the time in snap tabs and most in the hoop projects, the color choices are to force color stops on your machine. So you want to make sure that that's whether you're doing the color stop or you need to actually make the color on the file. Oh, there we go. Story of my life. Thread came undone. Seems to happen way too often. I have a love-hate relationship with this Janome. It stitches really great, but it seems to be really buggy when it comes to the threader and having the stray threads. So now if you have a Janome 500 or the equivalent Elna, you notice that in order to carry the tail, and it stopped again, and that's what's happening. The tail is not coming back down when it's cutting. So what I'm going to do with the Janome, it always wants to go back to the last good stop, and I'm going to just go ahead and fast forward past that step, and then I'm going to hold the tail while it starts to take the next steps. And I find, see, you can see the bobbin actually came up. I find that usually will do the trick. I've seen all the Janome group, they keep saying this is a bug. I don't know if it's a bug or just the nature of how a single needle machine has to do the thread cutting and the tail, because on a multi-needle machine, there's a thread bar in the back of the machine that would hold the thread up. So it's called a wiper, and it pulls that thread up to the wiper thread bar to hold the tail for the next stitch. but there's no way to do that on a single needle machine. So this is Janomi's solution. What I was mentioning is, and I might have to be careful because on the next thing I'm going to tape this down, because the way the Janomi moves the presser foot to pull that tail, it's constantly hitting hardware, like if I'm doing an in the hoop pattern, or like because that material is sticking up back there, it might actually even hit it and then get stuck there and drag it back down. So I'm just going to put a piece of tape there. I'm going to go ahead and hold this again just because it messed up the last time. It might do it again. And then I'll go and trim that off. You may not have that issue on your machine. I'm really tempted to buy another machine that does the cutting just so I can see how it handles that issue. I do actually have a Brother 770, but I got it used and the tension is not good on it, and I actually just haven't really taken the time to play with it. I bought it as a backup on, it's one of the most popular machines for the 5x7s, and so I bought it so that if anybody has an issue I can try and copy it. So I'm going to go ahead and switch colors now to my other color because I want a shading here so that it simulates the real life shading you would have in a bell from the bottom of it. These little spools, I find that they feed off better if I pull them right from the spool instead of using this little thread stand that I have in the back. So I just leave that on the spool. This thread stand is actually meant for my 350E that I had first, and I still have. Let's see if that'll take. But it works. It's just kind of tilted forward. It works for this one, so I've been using it. Because they're like $100. And all it is this metal, and I'll tell you, they see us embroiderers coming and they just flash the dollar signs. They take things that are quite simple in real world and charge us a fortune for it. Like something that would be an item that somebody might use in the wood shop. They label it for quilting or embroidery or sewing, and they tack another 10 bucks on it. And you see it all the time at Joann, the pretty little, oh, there the thread broke again. The pretty little tool boxes that are really just tackle boxes. And I don't like to pull the thread from this direction, but I have to because it broke off up there. Oh, something's not grabbing right. Let me redo this whole thing. So it drives me crazy, and embroidery software is probably one of the most overpriced softwares I've ever seen. It's glorified CAD software. Now, I think some of the newer versions probably are more deserving of the price because they have come a long way. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to fast forward. Again, you probably won't have this issue on your machine. This is a buggy issue with the Janomis. And not everybody has this issue. Some people don't have this issue at all. And they, you know, they always try to say it's like user error in the Janomi groups. It's like, no, it's not user error. It's definitely buggy. I'm going to go ahead and trim this because it's going to get caught in here and I don't want it to be. So you want to trim your jumps as you go along for the most part. I forgot to get the silver ready for the bell. So try to get all the threads ready. I'm not good enough at doing the little manipulating the videos and stopping and then resuming them. I have an iPhone and it does not allow me to pause the recording and resume it like some other phones allow. So the other option is you stop and you resume, and then you piece them all together in iMovie. And I had to do that the other day, and it took almost all day. It ended up taking me 2 days to edit the movie and upload it to Facebook. This is why I like to do live videos on Facebook all the time. I'm sorry, upload it to YouTube. I much prefer doing the live videos because it's done. It's on Facebook. I don't have to worry about it anymore. All right, so now I'm going to switch back. I didn't have a good selection for the outline of the bells, so I'm just going back to the same color that I used before. So I realized that I could have just done it all in one swell swoop, but then the outline of the detail down below wouldn't have matched right. So you really need 3 shades of gold for this bell. Now this is going to do the outline. I'm going to go ahead and stop this and trim this real quick. If you don't trim the jump stitches when you go along, or the tails, in this case that was a tail, they can get caught in your stitching and then it won't look very good. There's a problem with that stuff. I need to fix that. I'll do that while it's running. This is actually my first time stitching this out. So, that's why it's a little bit off. I try to not have very many jumps, and so I added an extra layer there and didn't change the starting positions. So when you get this file, you won't have that problem. Stop. All right, there we go with the thread break again. I do know one thing. I just did a couple of in the hoop bags on this needle. I'm going to try and make it through this stitching here, but if you start having a lot of thread breaks, more times than not, it's the fact that you need a new needle. And try not to get your hands down here like I'm doing. I'm going to let it stitch over there and catch it, and then stop it and trim that away. Just watched Alice in Wonderland, the Tim Burton version with Johnny Depp. Oh, it's so wonderful. I don't know if I'm pretty sure I saw it a long time ago, but it's been a very long time. You see that the vinyl isn't buckling or anything. The sign of if you do a snap tab or any vinyl design and your vinyl is buckling, that's usually a sign that you need more stabilization. Not always. There are some very heavy designs out there that are going to buckle, but usually it means you need more stabilization. And this is 7,000 stitches altogether. But, I mean, there's some snap tabs and ornaments out there that are 10,000 stitches. ornaments, that's okay. If the bells show through a little bit, it'll just make it look like the bow is a little bit of a sheer bow. So I'm not too worried about that. I sacrifice. Sometimes you have to sacrifice the realistic look for the artistic integrity of what you're trying to accomplish. Okay, a couple more. Oh, I really should have done this on the multi-needle machine. I could have just threaded it and be done with it. But most of you guys don't have a multi-needle machine. So the reason why I do these testing on this machine is I want to know how the single needle machine works. Because I've actually done a few designs that I've had to redigitize, re-engineer, because this machine couldn't stitch them out. And I do so many in the hoop patterns. Like this is my most recent one. If y'all haven't seen this or you're new to my channel, take the strap off. This is my flapper cell phone bag, which has an exterior pocket, inside main pocket, and then a zipper pocket on the back. And you can actually put your cell phone in here, and the inside. And put a little crossbody strap on it, and you're on your way. So I have to make sure that I can stitch that on this machine. Sorry about that sneeze there. Okay, let's see what's next. Oh, we actually have 2 shades of blue. I wasn't prepared for that. Okay, so our bells are done. Now we're going to start our bow. I have this very pretty blue. Well, it's stitching that. I'm going to look for an outline blue because I didn't get an outline blue for the details. I have a crazy mix of threads here. I have a lot of that embroidery, I think it is, because I bought these machines and I've gotten thread with most of them. Not very good about winding my bobbins back underneath the little holders. You know, most of the small Madeira spools and the Isacord, the top or the bottom snaps up so you can wrap your thread in there to keep it from unraveling. And I'm really terrible about remembering to actually do that. So I have loose threads all over the place. Definitely very sheer, but that's okay. I have another version of this bow. I might swap it out and use that one. It's a little bit more filling. I like the idea of a sheer bow anyway. All right. Getting close to the end. Now I'm going to go ahead and get this other blue in here. And it's going to do the bow outline. Nothing like waiting till the last minute. This is due tomorrow for a swap. And I actually am not waiting till the last minute. I've actually just been down for the count and haven't really been able to do much testing. Okay, now we're down to the last 2 steps. I have an eyelet that's going to stitch right here to put your ribbon through, and then the final bean stitch. So you have a choice to make. If you're going to put hardware in here like a grommet, then you can go ahead and just stitch the eyelet on this alone, and so it's not on the backing. But I'm actually going to just poke a hole in it. So I'm going to stitch the grommet after I add the backing so that I have that hole on the back also reinforced. So that's the choices you have to make. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this over. And in this case, I'm using felt. This is a very heavy craft felt. Again, I got it with one of my machines, this machine actually. And I don't even know where it's from. It must come in a bag because it's very heavy. And you can change out your bobbin thread if you are one of those people. I don't worry about it. I just leave it whatever the last is. And I'm going to go ahead and just leave this blue so it pulls in the color from the blue from the bow. When you tape that onto the back, make sure it's covering the entire thing. Make sure it does not come loose when you put it underneath. Oh, you guys saw how I pulled that tail out and it still came undone on the needle. All right, I'm going to hold on to it. And actually, it's a good idea if you pull up the bobbin thread. It'll help you not get all that nesting on the back of your, wow, that's really tight. His stitching is pulling the needle. It'll help you not get nesting on the back if you pull the bobbin thread up. I'll show you that when we do the back. Ooh, let me trim this out because it's getting pulled inside there. This is a very tight little satin. All right, here we go. And I can't find my regular ribbon, so I'm just going to use this curling ribbon I have sitting here for the ribbon to hang it. Okay, so what I mean by pulling up the bobbin thread, what you do is you pull your top thread and hold it. Then you can drop your presser foot if you need to. Use your hand wheel and pull up the bobbin thread. So usually you have to kind of put tension on the thread by the needle, and then you pull that bobbin thread up. You see that? And hold both of them. And then start your stitching. And then once it back stitches over a couple times, you can stop and trim that. Now, if you have a multi-needle machine, you do the same thing. You hold the top thread, and then you just hit the start, take one stitch, and then stop. In the meantime, I'm going to get my scissors ready to trim my sand tab. I use 2 different scissors. On glossy, shining vinyls, I like the Kai scissors best. If it's intricate cutting, I like the Westcott best because I can get into the deep crevices better. All right, there we go. It's all done. Our design's all done. There we go. And you can see on the back, see the little knotty mess that I got there because I didn't pull the bobbin thread up. But when we started over here, there's no mess there. So now you just go ahead and take all your tape off. And you can pop this out of the hoop. I like to pull away the extra tear away first so it's not caught in there. And I'll try and trim this in front of the camera But it's going to be kind of awkward because I'm going to have to lean over the sewing machine to do that. So you just go ahead and start cutting, and the best thing is to let the scissors do the work for you. So I get into here, into the curve, and then turn the vinyl into the scissors. So turn the vinyl into the scissors. So you don't swoop down with the scissors. And you have to kind of, when you get into these tight spots, then you have to turn the scissors. But when you're not in the tight spots, you turn the vinyl into the scissors. So you're holding the scissors steady, and then the vinyl is what you're moving. So now I got that cut. So I'm going to move the vinyl into the scissors as I depress the scissors. I'm not moving the scissors, I'm just depressing them. And that's how you don't get the jagged cuts when you do it that way. When you do the cutting where you're kind of going like this, and you're just jagging, cut, 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 cut like this, you get the jagged, uneven cuts. You can already, I think, see that there. So again, push down, turn the vinyl into the scissors. And all you're doing is pressing down with the scissors while you guide the vinyl underneath the blade. And that's how you get those nice smooth cuts without all that jagged stuff on the edges. There we go. If you have big enough pieces of vinyl left, you can save those. I have this hole punch that I got from Hobby Lobby. It's for leather. I'm just going to punch a hole in the center. And my vinyl didn't come all the way through, but that's okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and twirl this ribbon inside of it. If you need to cut a bigger hole, do that. I'm going to use the purple thing and use it to push the ribbon through to the back side so I can grab it. You just need to make sure there's enough on the back to grab it, and I'm still not getting enough there. There we go. Now I have enough to grab it. And then just pull these two strands through, pull it tight, and then just tie this off at whatever length you want it to be into a knot. And trim it. And there's your finished ornament. How cute is that? Well, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel and give me a like on the video. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so I can start doing lives on YouTube. But I'm slow going. Very slow going. I hope that this video finds you all healthy and happy, and have a great holiday if I don't talk to you before then. Thanks. Bye-bye.